CP.
Are you serious?
He's gone. 40, 30, Portis all the way. Touchdown Redskins, 64 yards.
26 minutes.
He's pretty sharp, you know. He'll coach you up on the Miami guys and everything else. He's kind of fun to be around. Got an opinion too.
You know, I've been blessed to have the opportunity to go out and be myself and say the things that I say, and you know, for the outside world, they can deal with it how they deal with it.
26 minutes with Clinton Portis. CP. Teach him something.
I'll teach you that this is episode 7 of 26 minutes. My lovely minute mates, Monica McNutt, Jake Kring-Schreifels. We're here on the couch. Coach Gibbs just said he'll teach you about Miami. My team had a win. We're going to discuss that in this episode. We got Santana Moss joining the show. Jake wrote a huge article under A Star Is Born. You all need to check that out. But right now, we're going to get to the recap of the Redskins Saints. You didn't expect that at all, Monica.
I don't think anybody did.
I wasn't expecting that at all. Thank you, Jake. I feel like I'm not like super alone. But everybody was talking about how this was going to be the test, right? Like this is the opportunity to we see if this team's the real deal.
So what did you see?
Well, I saw lots of problems. I think at the end of the first half, I was just like, oh, this is bad.
Jake?
Saw a Redskins team that we've seen the last 3 years or so. It's win one, lose one, win one, lose one. They just cannot put a string of games together that is consistent, and that's just been really the problem the last few years, consistency.
So what I take from this is you have an opportunity. You know Drew Brees is going to break the record against your team. You already know this. You know the stage is set. It's Monday Night Football. You're in New Orleans. Everything is going on. You got this crowd is ecstatic. You know that. But at some point, I feel like someone should take advantage of the opportunity to say, this is my moment. This is my moment to become a household name. Because everyone is not household names. This is my moment to be a star, to steal some attention, to delay the celebration of Drew Brees. Whether I come up with an interception defensively, whether I strip sack defensively, offensively, if I score, if we get up big, if I can break a big run, whatever it is, this is my moment. And knowing this is your moment, knowing you're on national TV, you don't do anything. That's the letdown. And the excitement around this team comes from, well, the letdown around this team comes from the fact that when you have yourself put in prime position, you never show up. When everyone is watching, you never show up. You look at the Monday Night Football record, you look at the primetime television record, you look at when they follow a win, when people are excited about them, how they follow it up. They never show up.
Do you want to hear the record, by the way?
You got it.
Since 2007 now, they are 3-17 on Monday Night Football.
That means I was a part of some of this. Since 2007, that means I was a part of some of this. I hope I won 1 or 2 of those games.
I hope so too, CP. So this becomes my question because you're right. We knew it was a primetime thing. And for me, I don't even know that you had to go down there and steal one, but you had to look better than you looked on Monday night. So when we have this conversation, we've all identified this pattern. What's the next step to changing it, CP? Like, you've been in the locker room. How do you change that? Because it's one thing.
It's up and down.
But so what's consistency? What's the key to consistency? Is it leadership within the locker room? Is it a coaching staff? Is it production on the field? Like, how do you become consistent?
Well, I think it's all. You have to, like, someone has to be held accountable week in, week out. It's hard to be consistent when you don't have an identity of someone to follow. Right? You have a lot of good players on this team, but no one to follow. You don't have anyone that you look to that's going to carry this team. Excuse me. You don't have anyone that you look to that's going to carry this team, that's going to take you over the hump, that's your go-to guy, that's going to bail you out. You don't have that when you look around this team. You have some young guys with the fire, the desire, and the energy, but they're young, so everyone is not following those guys. So you got to.
Can youth be a movement, though? Because, right, small sample size, me in terms of being an athlete, I can remember coming into a program that was accustomed to losing. And it was the freshman class that began to turn it over. So we couldn't actually hear on television some of Jonathan Allen's post-game quotes in terms of being pissed off about that loss. So can it start with the young guys, though?
So he was a young guy that I said have the fire and desire. You look at these young kids from Alabama that's used to winning, all of a sudden they're put in this position. In order for the young voices to be heard, to be looked at and idolized or followed, you're going to have to remove some of the older guys. You see, like the difference is your freshman class came in, but some of the older people that was used to this had to be removed.
Gotcha.
So you caught people that kind of experienced it and was ready for change, and then you had the young wave, which allowed you to change. When you look at this roster top to bottom, you have certain situations or certain people that I don't think, and this is just me personally, I don't think Trent Williams is ever going to follow Jonathan Allen, you know? So Jonathan Allen will always be looking up to Trent Williams. Not to say Trent Williams is not a good person to look up to, just using the youth to newborn word as, you know,
experience
a stepping
matters.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him, Jonathan Allen, that is, Monday. He's like, can you, at your age, feel like you can be accountable? At a certain point, you kind of just have to say, yeah, I think I have to hold everyone accountable, because second year in the league doesn't matter. You're on this team, and you're one of the premier defensive players. So you've got to go out there and say something, because who else is
I would kind of look at the situation like this. Me going to Denver, right? My rookie year in Denver, I had no care in the world, because you had so many players: Shannon Sharp, Al Wilson, Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey, Brian Greasy, and the list goes on. You had so many vets that knew how to win, that covered. So when I got to Denver, I didn't have a care in the world. Like, I was just playing football. It was no pressure on me. I was like 15th in expectancy. No one expected anything out of me. Like, all the vets were in place already, and anytime something went wrong, you got 14 other people to blame before you say, well, it's Portis' fault. All of a sudden, year two, when I became more vocal or understood the leadership out of that locker room, now I understand the leadership. Now I'm vocal, and people are starting to look at me in the way I carry myself. Year three, I get traded to a new organization, which I become the face of the Redskins. So older players here had to adapt and learn how to, you know, like, take me. It's hard for them to look at, like, this guy 3 years in the league, but you look at my body of work. Once you put that body of work in, it gets done.
Right. So I know we got to change topics, but CP, then how do we move forward? Because if the word or the expectation on this team is to be inconsistent, does that mean we get a sharp performance Sunday against the Panthers?
I'm going to tell you how to move forward in 1 second. Right now, you are the reason that we went overtime.
Okay, sure.
We're going to get to Jake, and then we'll come back and move forward.
When two teams collide on the gridiron, there can only be one winner. But in business and life, Koch Industries believes that win-win outcomes are the key to long-term success. That's why Koch strives to create innovations that help improve life, while also taking a stand for equal rights and opportunity for all. See the inspiring real stories for yourself at kochchallenge.com. And guys, as we celebrate another Redskins season, the Virginia Lottery hopes that you'll join them in celebrating their own 30th birthday. Because every time you buy a lottery ticket, you're supporting another team, Virginia Public Schools. Since 1988, the Virginia Lottery has raised over $9 billion for education, a victory they couldn't have achieved without their loyal players. So on behalf of the Virginia Lottery, thank you, Virginia, for making their 30th season a winner. And to help kick off their 30th birthday, the lottery is recognizing extraordinary Virginia Public School graduates through their Made in Virginia program. If you know a Virginia graduate you'd like to recognize as outstanding in their career or community, nominate them for the Made in Virginia Award. Winners will get money to award to the Virginia Public School of their choice. Entry period ends October 12th. For more details, go to madeinvirginia.com. That's pretty quick. October 12th. It's coming up.
October's such a good month, guys.
I just like Halloween.
And my birthday.
I'm trying to meet that boy Clint Portis, though. They say that boy, they say he's smooth on his feet. I'm trying to teach him something.
Teach him something.
Teach him something.
Teach him something. So I'll teach you this. We're going to get to best things we saw this week, Monica's favorite segment.
My favorite.
We're going to hear everything Jake got to talk about. And we have a guest today, none other than Santana Moss. So in overtime, be aware of what we discuss. Monica, kick it off. Best thing you saw
Best thing I saw this week has to be the Caps raising the banner at Capital One Arena last week. That was, like, I was unfortunately unable to be there in person. But literally when I clicked on the videos on Twitter, even the next morning, seriously, like, I don't know if it's the choice of music, the lighting, the reverence everybody had for what was happening.
Happened in a while.
Hello, like the history behind it. But honestly, I was like, am I about to cry? Like, this is a sports movie moment. This is awesome.
You've been on the court, though, for other banners being raised,
So
right?
our banner at Georgetown went up, which was cool. And other than that, no. Gosh, Jake. No.
So that's why it got so emotional.
Is that why?
I
It
think
was the first
so.
one? Okay, fine. That was my best thing.
Hey, before I went to New Orleans, I had a wedding in Memphis. So I
Hey,
went down to
Jake,
Memphis.
you were everywhere. I
Jake
saw
was
your
popping,
Bill
your
Street, Suburban
Instagram.
Street. Hey, you're doing a lot of partying, Jake.
I was, yeah, but it was a cool time. Beale Street's interesting. It was not as poppin' as Bourbon Street, but I did get to go to Sun Studios, which is the old recording studio for Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, like all those classic, B.B. King. So that was really cool because it's this historic place, and you could just feel like every major artist has gone there since and recorded there, and that was a pretty special thing to kind of be in that
That is really cool.
presence there. So that was my best thing.
How did the food in Memphis compare?
I mean, I had barbecue.
No comparison? Okay.
I went to Rendezvous in Memphis, and it was really good service. So I recommend that one.
Well, for me, the best thing I saw this week was a comeback that I will discuss later in the show from the U coming back from down 20 to beat FSU at home. But I'm not even going to give you that. Conor McGregor pre-fight, Derek Lewis interview. This man wins the fight after being torched the entire fight. With 10 seconds left, he throw a haymaker and knock out his opponent. That's great. His interview after makes him my favorite athlete already. When you look at his interview, the man take off his shorts and they ask him why. He say, hey, I got hot. I can't say it on the show, but you can check out the interview. Then he goes on to say he's out of shape. They asked him about a title fight, which he's about to have in 3 weeks against Daniel Cormier. They asked him about the title fight. He said, I need to sit down somewhere and do some cardio. But afterwards, he agreed to fight in 3 weeks, and he's not ready. So, of course, he's going to get demolished unless he lands another haymaker. Then he goes on to tell Joe Rogan he's coming on the show to smoke with him. I was done. I was done. I was totally done. And I just think Derek Lewis is my favorite person right now. I got to go and look up all his old interviews.
Definitely a post-match interview for the ages. But you know, I was thoroughly prepared to give it to you and Devontae, our fabulous producer, if y'all team went down.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you and Santana handle that.
Were you preparing like third quarter? Were you preparing like how am I gonna come back and talk to guys about this?
I wasn't, because you know what? You
Look, you
never
said that
happens.
too cool. You wasn't sweating at all.
No, this is what never happens to me. In no weekend since I've been retired do I get to enjoy the Redskins and the Hurricanes off of a big win. One of those teams going to let me down. If I really would have been paying attention to this weekend, which I watched no college football, that's rare. I watched nothing. I see UM win, come back from 21, and all of a sudden, the Redskins are playing my favorite team in the Saints. I could have already known the Redskins weren't going to show. Like, I could have already
bad
known.
as it was,
I
though?
could have predicted it. Not as bad as it was, just to know I wasn't going to be able to have a holiday weekend, an entire weekend where I was just ecstatic. So I canceled my flight from Miami to New Orleans and came back here, which I saw you Monday night at the tailgate. Tailgate was popping, even though we lost.
You
was a
probably
good
had a
time.
better time there.
It was a good time.
And speaking of the tailgate, hold on. Speaking of the tailgate, we got to get into the trash talk that's going on. You know, Josh Norman got into a Twitter beef with Michael Thomas, a wide receiver from the Saints. Khabib responding to McGregor after beating McGregor, and everyone was saying, well, Khabib he did too much. In Khabib's interview, he simply said, you guys allowed this man to do everything to build this fight up over the last year. He attacked me on the bus. He's talked about my family. He's talked about my religion. He's done all of this to me without me saying a word. Now, all of a sudden, after this fight and my rage comes out, you expect me to be cool. This has been building up in me for a year. Now you see my reaction and you want to punish me for it.
Yes, but no. This is, for me, and this kind of goes back to our Serena conversation just a little bit the last time Tanner was on the couch. I think anytime you subscribe to being an athlete and competing, there's just a level of discipline that comes with it. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but for Khabib's father to come down and ultimately say, for me, it's about discipline first and your attitude, I think he has some merit to that. It would be different if Conor McGregor all of a sudden turned into Conor McGregor, who used maybe crossed some lines in terms of the trash talk. But you knew who you were squaring up with from jump.
Yeah, it's hard to think about your legacy in the heat of the moment, too. But I think that being said, you're talking about discipline. You can figure out a way to realize even before the match, hey, if I win this, how am I going to respond? How am I going to differentiate myself from McGregor, who's done everything out of craziness, basically, to rile me up?
But like I feel like this goes along with McGregor. You go back to the Mayweather fight, all the antics that come along with McGregor, and then you feeling like, well, we'll settle this in the ring. That was Khabib's thought process, and all of a sudden you get to working somebody and beating somebody down, and they tap out. You can't. I want the smoke. This is what I came for. I came for the smoke. I want you to stand as a man and fight me back. Don't tap out. I want more.
But your issues with him, he tapped out, not his team.
So no, his team. It was more to that story. So you got to go through the in-depth because his team responded and said something as well. Okay. So if you want the smoke, you want the smoke with anybody.
All of y'all.
If I want smoke with you, I got beef with your team too. You know, so
I get that.
I think that's the way you have to look at that.
So what happens? Do you think that he should lose part of the prize money, or?
I don't think they get paid enough for the UFC anyway, with UFC making so much money. And speaking of money, Jake got to pay the bills.
I got to pay the bills. That's my job. Want to tell you a little bit about our friends at your local D.C. area Meineke Car Care Centers. It's a great place to do everything you need done to keep your car on the road. It is so important to maintain your car, and there are 19 Meineke Car Care locations in the greater Washington, D.C. area to help you do so. And now through October 31st, you can get up to a $100 Visa gift card when you're using your Meineke credit card with a purchase of $499 or more. You can see all the rules and regulations for this offer on Meineke.com. So don't get sidelined by car trouble this season. Sign up for Meineke Rewards to receive free towing to your nearest Meineke location, where their team of total car care experts can get your car back on the road. Save time by booking online at Meineke.com. Meineke, on with life.
Time for Q&A with Clinton. Next question.
Next question.
Next question.
Next question.
That's the way it is.
Next question.
Next question. It's a legitimate question.
Next question.
Next question.
Welcome back to 26 Minutes. For those of you that's watching this show, no, Jake did not go put on a wig. Jake is not Caitlyn Jenner. We have Kelly Basie joining us right now for Act CP. Kelly, welcome to the show. This is Monica. Monica, that's Kelly.
Hey, Monica.
Hey, girl. We met already,
Thank you.
Thank you for making sure that
Well, the people on the show don't know y'all met already.
People on the show we met. Shout out to Women in Sports.
That's right.
Shout out to Women in Sports. Women are taking over sports, all right?
Yeah, look out.
For sure.
All right, so our hashtag AskCP. First question from Smooney_50. What's the biggest consistency that you see with this team?
Interior. O-line, D-line. So your front five, I won't say interior. Offensive line, defensive line. When the offensive line and defensive line win, we win. When they lose, we lose. So you could look at everything else. It starts up front. And for us, offensively, you need to get downhill. We already established what our game plan for success is. That's being able to run the ball, moving the chains. Defensively, being able to apply pressure, get to the quarterback, force them to get the ball out of hand, which in our victories, we saw that. In our defeats, we didn't have it.
So our next question from DLax43. Why can't we play consistent winning football?
DLax, if I was the owner, the president, the GM, or anything else higher up, I would probably have a solution for that. But since I'm just on here wondering the same thing that you're wondering, I feel as if you have to get more players with attitude. We have a lot of good kids. We have a lot of good people. We have a lot of good men. As a father, if I had a daughter, we have a lot of people that I would introduce my daughter to and say, hey, babe, he's a good guy. He's respectful. He's this, he's that. When you're talking about playing the game of football, or you're talking about playing hockey or any competitive sport, you want someone with fire. You want someone that has some stuff, that has some kind of problems, but you could bring them back. You know, they're not too far gone, but they have an attitude with them. And Monica, you're looking sideways. You don't want to be introduced to no lame 7. You don't want to date a man that lets you take control.
Here's the thing, CP. You had the dog about you when you was playing. Okay, maybe.
But I was also a good human.
And that's what I'm saying. So I don't know that I have to be at a place where the way you explained that threw me a little bit, because I think you need people that can turn it on, that competitive beast. And they can still be gentlemen, but they got to have a competitive beast.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why I just said you need some people with fire. You need some people with dog in them. You need some people that came from somewhere. I'm slightly thrown off. Maybe you don't realize that, but I am. I admit, I'm slightly thrown off. Everyone doesn't get me. I don't want everyone to be able to understand me when I walk in and instantly look at me and say, well, this is what this package is. This package is a variety of things. This is assorted flavors. This is 31 flavors at Baskin-Robbins. One day I'm this person, the next day I'm this person, the next day I'm this person. But I can always come back to being vanilla. That's my base.
Okay, I get that. In a weird way, I get that explanation better than the first one. Because I guess there's a predictability that ultimately turns into contentment, which is not good to win.
Well, you never want to be content in anything. You always want to be building. I've never been content with being okay. I've never been content with being mediocre. I don't want 26 minutes to be a show that's just okay on TV. I want 26 minutes to be a talked about show that's going to continuously grow. I don't want to start off high and we fall off. Therefore, every week when you bring the energy, I gotta match your energy. Or if you don't have the energy, if you're having a bad day, if your boyfriend just broke up with you, I gotta bring you back too. Monica, come on, we got this show to do.
Relationships always sneak into this show. But anyway, this is
just helping you out. I'm giving you a nugget. I'm teaching you something in the midst of Ask CP, all right?
All right, I'm going to save Monica here. We're going to go next question. We got JC_Anglis15. What do you think is missing from the Redskins that could make them contenders?
What's missing? Killer instinct.
Yeah.
Killer instinct. You got to have someone who's determined to be the guy. After it's all said and done, if I get into a fight with 22 people, I'm trying to fight 22 people, right? Whether it's just me or my teammates help me or not, I'm going in with somehow I'm going to come out of this fight alive. You need killer instinct. You need to be able to survive and find a way. You can't have, you're down 13-6 or you're down 20-6. You got to continuously to believe we're coming back. I need to make a play. I need to make this play. Like, we're still in this game. You can't all of a sudden you're down and your head down. The moment something bad happens to this team or the moment you get behind 6-0, like, oh man, here we go. It's no here we go. It's the first possession of the game. Come out and score. Even if you don't score a touchdown, 6-3. Now, someone on defense needs to step up and say, all right, we're back. We're in position. We're one score away. If we kick a field goal, this game is tied. If we score a touchdown, we're in the lead. Not, oh man, like we already gave up one touchdown. And then you give up 2 touchdowns. Now you come back and you kick another field goal and it's 13-6. You shouldn't be down and out. Like, your team is scoring. You're still in this game. Don't hold your head down. Find a way. Go punch somebody in the mouth. Go make a play. I need more players to have that make a play mentality and not defer until I'm going to wait on somebody else. Don't wait on nobody. You go kick the door in. You go make your own play. You make your own way. You be the guy that come up with the turnover. You be the guy that get into the end zone and break the big play, that come up with the big catch. Why are you waiting on someone else?
So do you see anyone coming through that's stepping up into that position? Someone that can be the leader? I mean, you guys were talking about that earlier.
I would wish Mo Harris, because every time I see Mo Harris, he's making a play. Why doesn't he get more opportunity? I don't know. But every time I see Mo Harris on the field, somehow he's making a play. I would say more attempts for Mo Harris, because our wide receiver position is struggling, which it doesn't normally affect you to go from outside to inside, but it is, because your receivers are blocking and doing a okay job, but they're not growing. So outside, you need more. And I think Mo Harris could be the player that gives you some more.
Those are good questions and good answers.
Right. Hey, thank you very much. You can learn something from me if you just listen. That's your problem. You don't want to listen. As a woman, y'all want to take over.
Whoa.
Kelly,
We've got discipline.
Kelly, you did a great job.
Kelly, you did a great job listening, Kelly. All right, welcome to the show, and thank you for listening,
Thank
Kelly.
you.
That's it for 26 minutes. Monica, Kelly, Jake, join us on Overtime. Santana Moss is blessing us. Welcome back to 26 minutes Overtime. I'm joined by none other than Cowboy Killer himself, 8 to the 9 on Instagram, Santana Moss. Santana, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. So this week they had an article which will be great for us to discuss because we've both been in a situation. John Wall saying, well, he's not focused, that he would rather party. And before you answer that, John Wall came out and said he's going to continue to live his life, basically. He's going to continue to do what he do. I want you to discuss with the listeners what it's like being that guy and the temptations or the invites, because people don't realize you're invited to something every day. Whether it's in anything you're invited to, normally has alcohol or the opposite sex or looks like a party, when you could just be doing something innocent. You can invite me to church. It's women in church.
It's a gathering. So, I mean, one of the things I've always said, and you know, trust me, bro, I truly believe that different strokes for different folks. Some people, some players can do whatever it is that they do off the field and still be themselves on the field or on the court. If John Wall out there making baskets, playing at the top of his game, all-star, who cares what he does off the court? Me, myself, personally, I was a little different. You know, I knew that I couldn't do that every day. I picked the night. I say, this is going to be my night when I hang out. This is going to be my night when I let it all hang out, whether it's with the family, friends, you name it, especially when you have guys coming in town for the games. You pick that night, you find that night, and you say, I'm going to go out there and make sure I enjoy myself. I remember I talk about you all the time. I said CP was a different breed. He was a guy that CP can have fun, whether he barely went out all the time, but if he's at home, he's having a good time. And he comes out there and rush for 100 plus, 200 some yards. So, you know, I just feel like if it's not bothering you, you should allow that person to do whatever he feels like, as long as he's going out there and being the player that you want him to be.
So a lot of people look at that as distractions. For me, right, I'm family oriented. So I always got people around. You got your family come in town, my family come in town on Friday of every week. Me and you had a ritual where we went out to eat. We went for dinner and a drink on Thursday of every week, because Friday was our off day. Friday was our easy day. We play on Sunday. After the game Sunday, unless you had a big win, you were probably tired if you extended yourself. Monday, you're recovering, maybe watch Monday Night Football. Tuesday, you're getting ready to go back to work on Wednesday. So I don't think people realize that if there are 7 days in a week, okay, Friday when your family get in town, what do I supposed to say? I know I got to go to the hotel on Saturday, so now I got to do something with them on Friday, whether it's go to dinner or us sit around and play cards or they cook, you know, whatever it is. I don't think people fully understand what it's like to be an athlete. Then a lot of people get mad if John Wall was turning down requests like, oh, we want your presence here. We would like you to support this. If he starts to turn those down, then the negativity becomes, well, you can't get him to do nothing. He's not involved in the community. But when you're out in public, when you're out amongst the common folk, when you're out not being a basketball player or a celebrity and you're trying to vibe with the people, it's a negativity. Why is that?
Well, I feel like people are always expecting much more than what that athlete should do or be outside of what he does. You know, think about it. I'm not sure how many times you heard of it. I heard it plenty of times. I could be out having dinner and someone just hate the Redskins, or maybe they might hate me. You should be home watching film.
Yeah, why should I be watching film? I've been doing that all day.
Why would you even come at me while I'm enjoying my family, enjoying my time, and have the notion that you should be able to say those words to me? I don't tell you when you should be at work. I don't tell you when you should be on time at work. I don't tell you you shouldn't be sleeping or, you know, doing what you're doing on your phone at work. So it's like, you know, people look at what we do as athletes and feel like they have some say-so of what we should be doing because of how much they invested into being fans of us or our team. I just believe that it's a double-ended sword. You know, damn if I do, damn if I don't. And if I'm that a-hole to you when you see me in public now because of what others give me, and because of what people have been saying or the whispers I've been hearing, now I'm wrong for that. So it's so much, you know, asked of us, and then whether we give it to them or not, you know, they're gonna always have their say. But I just feel like at the end of the day, the one thing I've always stood for and stood by is I'm gonna handle my business, regardless of what I do. Even if I went out there and said, hey, I did something unusual this week, I know come Sunday, whether it's Monday or Thursday, I got a job to do, and I'm gonna go out there and try to be the best I can for my job. And if you do that, who cares what someone says? Who cares what they think of you?
So speaking of that, Josh Norman's taking a lot of heat about off the field moves or celebrity moves or being Hollywood. Two guys that's in the same city, a city that's known for supposedly destroying people or destroying their athletes due to partying or off the field. Well, Josh Norman is not partying, but his celebrity status is taking him around the world, and people feel like that's interfering with his game.
Well, one of the things I can say about that is almost go back to what we were just talking about with John Wall, is if Josh Norman's playing good football and the team is winning, they have nothing to say. The team has been up and down. His play hasn't probably been what we've known of it to be. Maybe it's because he's not getting their targets. Maybe because he's just not being that guy. And people have something to say. So as a player, as the individual, I would say, hey, if I feel like this is a distraction and I can't juggle both of them, then I would nip something. The one thing I can't nip is my job. I have to make sure that I'm prepared. I have to make sure I'm the best at what I'm doing. And I want to be the best at what I'm doing. So if this is something that is adding pressure to me, if this is something that's asking me to overextend myself, then I might just shut that down, because regardless of what money that might bring me, it's not going to bring me the continuous check that I'm going to see from this job, and the one that I need the most. If it's nothing bothering him and he feel like he can do both, then do it. I think right now, thus far in this season, something has to change. I don't know if it's, you know, stop being the Josh Norman that you have become, or whether you just up the Josh Norman that you are. You know, but something has to change. And I think that when it comes to just being a player, you got to go out there and play ball. All this stuff would not even be nothing that we have to discuss about if you're out there playing good football. And I think when you go out there and handle your business and be that guy every down, every week, then people say less about you.
Speaking of distractions, we just gave you 3 different situations: John Wall and partying, Josh Norman and building a brand. And then I'm going to take you to a guy who you never hear any negativity about, in Preston Smith. It's contract year. Preston Smith, contract, distractions. I don't think fans or individuals understand how much pressure comes along with that. You're playing for your payday, and all of a sudden Preston Smith, a guy who is not distracted by partying, a guy who's not doing anything else, no sacks, 6 weeks. Do you feel like this contract looming has been a distraction for Preston?
Well, if you're on the outside looking in, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. Maybe it's the contract. Maybe he's distracted a little bit, knowing that I could be coming up on a big chunk of change that's going to change my life. Maybe if he's a guy that came in as a high-profile guy that had that first deal, maybe it's not such a distraction. Who knows? You know, we talked about it earlier about us being in those shoes. Fortunately, you know, we was one of those guys that you didn't have to question what kind of guy we was going to be come Sunday, come Monday, come Thursday. But one of the things that I can say, that thinking about it, because I had a little time to think about this, is that I really didn't care about it, because I felt that if I had put it on my mind and I thought about it, it was going to not allow me to go out there and be the guy that I needed to be on Sunday. I've always wanted to make sure that I kept less going on up here when it came to knowing what I had to do. That's why I always prepared myself for everything. I prepared myself for those bad days, prepared myself for those great days, but I also prepared myself when things just was going to be something that you had to make something out of nothing. So whatever happened, whatever situation I found myself into, I knew how to dig myself out of it, or I know how to, you know, keep that same vibe, keep that same energy.
Well, with or without money, 2 people that'll always be the same, and I could vouch for this. Since '99, you've been the same. Since Moss, I've been the same. CP, not gonna change. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. You can either accept it or not. Don't care to me. I don't care what you think of me. He doesn't care what he think of him, but I do care what you think of 26 Minutes. So join us next week when we have Randall L., Monica back in the house. Love Monica. Yeah, that's it for 26 Minutes. That's it for Overtime. Join us next week, episode 8.
Are uninvited pests ruining your plans? Let PMSI, the pest control partner of the Washington Redskins, handle it for you. Call today for your free inspection, and they'll work around your schedule to provide you the best solution possible to defend your home territory against pests of all kinds, including mold. Visit mypmsi.com for the game plan to control the pests on your home turf. That's mypmsi.com.
Hey, it's Kring-Schreifels with your Redskins 365 update. No practice for the Redskins on Wednesday as they get a day off following Monday night's loss to the Saints. Head coach Jay Gruden and quarterback Alex Smith did talk to the media, though, this afternoon, addressing some of the issues from Monday night and looking ahead to the Carolina Panthers this week. As a reminder, that game starts at 1 o'clock p.m. on Fox. Redskins.com Live will be on the field with the pregame show at 12:15. And that's also the breast cancer awareness game. Follow Redskins.com and Redskins social platforms for updates on all BCA content.